All right. Good afternoon. Welcome back here to Trader Minute. Great to have you aboard. My apologies there for the lack of audio. As you know, we've moved the equipment, so things are in a little different spots. That was absolutely my fault, and my apologies there. So, let's start over. Let's go take a look at what's going on. Another free fall day in the market here. Market futures or the market itself was halted as it hit down 7%. And we have some stocks in just absolute free fall modes. Very little price stability, in things. You take a stock like General Motors here today. Where's the price stability? This thing closed at 20 yesterday. Is traded down to 14.33 today. It was up at 16.50 now. There is no price stability in GM. There's no price stability in the overall market and in most stocks in the market here as well. So very similar environment to what has been, and no indication that that is going to change. The only massive difference today, the only real massive difference comes in bonds. I mean, bonds are just getting absolutely hammered. Every big down day we've seen, the bonds have gone up. Today, bonds are getting absolutely smoked. This may go down as one of the biggest down days for bonds ever. Where's the safety? Safety in gold? No. Right? Gold's pulled back now on a percentage basis. It's held up phenomenally well. Is there safety in the U.S. dollar? Okay, you could argue, yeah. But, I mean, it's not exactly going to make you a ton or lose you a ton. Where's the safety at? Is it utilities? I mean, come on. Utilities tend to be safe during these types of markets. So much for that. What about real estate? Real estate tends to hold up when stock markets go crazy. Real estate meltdown. Okay, all right. Maybe consumer staple stocks. Okay. Yeah, they've gone from 64 to 54. This is like gold. It's gone down, but not to the same degree. Where's the safety in this market? Well, when the market is driven by margin calls, there just isn't safety. It's very difficult to look at a stock and to say, you know what? Amazon was green this morning, so Amazon's a great stock. I'm going to go buy it. Why? Because right now, is Amazon trading based off of its chart? For some, yeah. Is it trading off of its price action? For some, yeah. Is it trading off its fundamentals? For some, yeah. Most, probably not. But what's one of the key drivers for most stocks in the market right now? What's the key element that's coming in? Margin calls. Margin calls out there are phenomenal. When we see the margin call data that gets reported quarterly, we will probably see record margin calls. And if you have Amazon stock, Amazon can be as great of a company as any company out there. And if a big holder of Amazon gets a margin call, can they hold it? Nope. They have to sell. So it has nothing to do with Amazon, nothing to do with the business, nothing to do with the technicals, fundamentals. Everything to do with the margin call. When we see margin calls, we just get much choppier markets, and downside is the path of least resistance here. Okay. All right. So it comes and begs the question, what do you look for in this type of market? What do you do with things in this type of market? And so let me kind of give you some of my thoughts here, and we'll go with them. Number one, technicals matter. Now, most people look at technicals and say, well, the technicals should tell me whether to buy or sell. You know where I stand on that. I think that's a bunch of garbage. To take a chart and to just say, oh, well, here's this chart, I should buy. or here's this chart I should sell, good luck, right? Good luck with that. Charts are about finding patterns. Charts are about finding consistencies where you can then have the odds in your favor and look to take advantage of it. That's what charts are for. They're not for, well, is Honeywell going to go up tomorrow or is it going to go down? Well, based on this candle and based on this and based on that, yeah, we can do all that. Are we going to have the odds in our favor? No, probably not. But do charts still matter? Absolutely. What does Honeywell's chart tell me right now? What's it tell me? Tells me, yeah, it's oversold. Does oversold mean anything? Nope. Doesn't mean anything. It was oversold yesterday. It was oversold the day before. It was oversold the day before that. It was oversold at 160. It could be oversold at 60. So the chart is telling me what? Something historic is happening. Either guess or back off. That's what it's telling me. So I could go buy calls on Honeywell and guess and try to call a bottom. I've done that with a few stocks here. Hasn't worked out well for me, right? For others, yeah, it will. But I have my exposure in there, and I'm willing to do that. Am I willing to put serious money in play? No, I'm not. Absolutely not. So the charts, they speak. The market chart itself speaks. Here's the SPY. Take a look at the MACD. MACD's down here at minus 20. And if we're looking at charts for patterns to say, well, what tends to happen when we see these things, does the MACD help us? Let's pull it. Let's pull all of our other indicators off. Let's go add the MACD back on here, and let's go take a look at the last. We'll start with 10 years. Has the MACD ever been this low? So what's it mean? Can I find a pattern of behavior here? No, I can't. Well, maybe if we go back 20 years, we can find a pattern. Maybe just the last 10 years are an anomaly. Well, here's the past 20 years. Has the MACD ever been this low? No, not even in the financial crisis. Wasn't even this low. So what can we say? Well, we can say the market's oversold. Does that mean we should buy? No. Market was oversold at 7.5, minus 10, minus 12, minus 15, minus 17. It's now oversold at minus 20. It'll be oversold if it hits minus 30. It's telling us something historic is happening, and that past patterns probably don't matter. To go back and look at 2008 and say, well, the market sold off in 2008. How did that play out? Because now it's going to play out similarly. It's kind of ludicrous. We rarely see that. 2008, 2009 did not play out the same way as 2001, 2002, and future markets aren't going to play out the same way. You could argue the market today is so different in dynamics compared to what it was in 2008, 2009, and you'd have a really good argument. So what are we looking for? Is it a matter of fundamentals? Do we go out and look and say, well, what's the PE ratio and all of that? Well, in a market like this, we talked about it yesterday. Who knows what some of these stocks are valued at? What's GM worth? Right? What's it worth? Nobody's out there buying cars right now. So what's that mean for manufacturing? What's that mean for the debts and the liabilities and servicing those? What's that mean for right now for the market? They can't answer that question. And that's why we see some of this free fall, continued margin calls as the free fall persists. The only thing we really say is, look, there's something very historic going on right now. Now, earlier this morning, I talked about what I expect going forward. And I still stand by that. Please don't take a down day in the market, to say, well, Jeff, does that change your mind? No, because what I'm expecting going forward has nothing to do with what the market does today, tomorrow, the next day, or the day after that. It is something where there's still a lot of things to play out. We need to see, things get a little worse. We need to see governments and everything continue to throw money at the markets. And this is going to be a process, not an event. But when we have something this severe going on, a lot of times the bottom and the bottom that comes in is a wow moment. It's a wow moment. Let me kind of go back, and they all play out a little differently, but let's just go back to 2000 and let's take 2007 because we had a wow moment. And I was sitting there and watching the markets, and the markets were down big. And it was one of those times where the negativity when it came to the markets was rising. And you think about the negativity right now, it's huge, okay? And it's rising, and it could get a lot worse, right? And this was a similar period of negativity. Obviously, the market hadn't, crashed in the same way, but, we had seen some pretty hefty selling that came in. And we got the market down, close at the lows, close at the lows, close at the lows. And then we saw a gap down. And this gap down here in August with further selling. And it just looked like another day. The market hammered, the market in serious trouble. And there wasn't a magic piece of news or something like that. I know people are looking for a magic news conference or something. No, there wasn't anything like that. We just started seeing stocks come back. The market come back. After a big down day gap and just this wow of how far the market was down. And this just beautiful rally right on back. We didn't end at the highs. But it was in the context of what that market was, it was a wow event. We've had wow events in the market here so far, and we've had big upticks. But what we have not seen is that despair element come in to where the market gaps down big and just continues to sell and then sees a big, strong upside reversal that day. Every upside day or big close to the upside that we have seen since right here at the beginning of March, where it catalyzed the bounce that came in, every other upside day has been with a gap up. And so if you're looking for a bottom, you're looking for that kind of element there in this style of market. And again, these can all play out differently, but what am I looking for? I'm looking for a gap down like today. Okay, just big gap down. I'm looking for continued sell. And then I'm looking for that just absolute monster charge back into the green. Do we have that today? I know the market's been rallying a little bit while I've been talking, and the answer is absolutely not. To no way, shape, or form. When I talk about monster rally, I'm not talking about something that erases a little bit of sell. I'm talking about something that just, whoa. And when we see it, we'll see it. And it'll look different, in every type of market. But that's what I'm looking for. Do we have it? No, we absolutely do not have it. Am I comfortable to say bottom is in? No, not at all. And that wow moment will come in eventually. It's not here today. The wow moments today for the market are just really on the downside. I mean, look at oil. I mean, you got oil down over down over 20%, and it's 5% off of its lows. It's just, we're just talking about moves that are just jaw dropping and historic in many ways out there in the market. Now, I understand. I totally get that this type of market, drives very negative thinking in terms of, man, things will never come back, things will never, recover, and man, what's tomorrow going to be, and is this market going to zero, and that all of that happened during the financial crisis. We saw talk of that in the debt crisis with Europe. And those are very normal, right? The market's very emotional. Humans, run the market. We humans are emotional, and those thoughts of fear go through our head. One of the interesting things is, when you look at something like Disney back in November, when it hits 145, what are most people thinking? Man, I wish this thing would have a big sell-off so I could buy it cheap. But what happens? It then has a big sell-off, and is anybody looking and going, oh, wow, big sell-off, I can buy it cheap? Right? No, they're looking and going, uh-oh. Uh-oh. And there's a lot of uh-oh out there in the market. But what we have learned from past history is that these events, these time periods in the market, ultimately subside. They ultimately end, and we see the other side of the equation come in. There's no need to be in a hurry to say, hey, when that switch is happening, because it could be another while. Right? We have some historic events playing out there. But ultimately, we will look at Disney and go, man, that was a massive buying opportunity. We will look at stocks like Disney that finally bottom, and whether it's at 60, 30, 20, 10, who knows? All I know right now is it's not there. But we will ultimately look and go, man, I wish I was paying attention to the price action and not all the fear elements that were out in the market right now. So if you feel those fear elements, that emotion element, really kind of overriding right now, step away. Nothing wrong with it. Step away. Watch things from a distance. Because one of the things that we will see is that even if you miss the bottom, there's going to be plenty of upside in plenty of stocks, in plenty of sectors. And so let it unfold. Let it play out. No need to hyperanalyze it. No need to look and go, well, you know what? JP Morgan did this today and they announced this today, so what does it mean? We know what it means. It means very little. In the short run, it means very little. We know that the panic is there. We know that the margin calls are there. We know that, the stock is cheap on so many different levels. But right now, we haven't had that kind of wow bottoming type of element to say, hey, let's go put some serious money into play. Nor have we had any sort of beginning uptrend start to form. And so please, sit on those hands. Just be patient. Just wait. Watch it for what it is. Don't let those emotions get you because, the reality is you don't have to go very far to see everything driving at the emotions. The headlines are driving at the emotions. You turn on TV, it's driving at the emotions. It's how they get people to watch. And right now, in an emotional time period, in a time period of so much unknown and so much uncertainty, those things can be very, very real. Okay? But bottom line, do fundamentals matter? Ultimately, yes. Do technical matter? Ultimately, yes. But we have to understand that they don't always say, hey, you buy it here or you sell it here. Sometimes they're telling you, wait, step away for a while. Because right now, nobody knows. Ultimately, we will eventually know, and that shift will come. So far, hasn't happened. I expect there to be a pretty wow event come in. I don't expect it to be news-driven. I would be surprised if it's news-driven. In fact, a news-driven big reversal would concern me. We've seen some of those already. I want to see a price. I want to see when those margin calls are done. I want to see when we just have that element where, you know what, the buyers or the sellers are just kind of done. They're just kind of spent in the short run, and there's a vacuum to the upside. Will we get it? Yeah, we will. Think about Tesla. Think about Tesla on this move up. I mean, it's just monster move. Oh, man, it's never going to stop moving up. It just keeps going up every day. It just keeps going up every day. Well, eventually, does that shift? It does. Does that mentality shift? It does. And we will see that in the market. Is it going to happen overnight? No. But ultimately, it will. And when it does, last thing you want to be be is tired of the market, worn out of the market. You want to be fresh in terms of how you're feeling towards the market, and have some capital ready to go. To be able to take advantage. And so that's what I'm looking for. Those are my thoughts there. I tried looking at some pricing on a few things here today, and it was just rather absurd. But some VXX puts and VXX put options, just absolutely absurd here. Let me show you what I mean. If you go out even for a year, at one point today, the spread on them was $20. It's now come down to $3, and it was $20 just before the market halt. But it's now come down to $3 here. But I mean, just massive price for these, massive implied volatility. So not all that, all that playable there. With them. So anyway, that's kind of my thoughts on the market here today. I know I don't spend too much time sharing any kind of predictions or things like that. As I don't even care too much about my own predictions. But when it comes to what I'm looking for, what I think is going to shape up, hopefully this morning's video gave you an idea of what I think the long term will shape up into over the next several months and year and a half. And this afternoon hopefully shapes up into, or shows you kind of what I'm looking for in the short run. A wow event to come into play, something that is just incredibly outsized, incredibly unusual. And so far I haven't seen it. I guess there's still another hour today to possibly see it, but so far it isn't there. And when it is there, I'll be the first one to jump on. I will jump on very soon and just go, hey, here it is. Wow, this is what's going on, and this is how I'm playing it. Thanks for hopping on. Have yourselves a fantastic evening, and we'll talk to you later. Take care.